Hey, here are 5 stupid things I've noticed about James Bond. His theme songs are mostly shit. Come on, are there any Bond themes that you guys can enjoy sincerely? I know some of them are so bad that they can be kind of fun if listened to ironically, but most of them play like overproduced lounge numbers to my ears, and even the relatively good ones like Shirley Bassey's Goldfinger or that Adele song from Skyfall last year only seem decent when compared with other Bond themes. I mean, have you ever stopped and really paid attention to the lyrics of Goldfinger? I know she sings the hell out of it, but that is some stupid shit. He's essentially a murderer with good taste. James Bond is a fantasy character, but what I find troubling, when I think about it, like now for instance, is whose fantasy he seems to be. When I watch the Bond films, it strikes me that his distinguishing trait isn't so much his skill at his job as his willingness to do it. He really doesn't seem like the best spy in the world, but he's totally up for it. He doesn't strike me as the most skilled killer there is either, but he's totally down with killing whoever the government tells him he has to kill. And he gets to do it in style, wearing nice clothes, driving sweet cars, and fucking beautiful ladies. So, basically, he's a wish fulfillment character for people who dream of being showered in wealth and pussy for legally murdering people in beautiful exotic locations. Nice. He glorifies aristocracy and conspicuous consumption. Yeah, about those nice clothes and sweet cars. Bond's not exactly the heroic everyman, is he? Not that there's anything wrong with that, but isn't there something a bit unseemly about the way the Bond film franchise has historically celebrated the expensive suits, the careless gambling, the luxury sports cars, the effortless globe-trotting? I mean, Batman is rich too, but at least most of his stories don't compound casual violence with wealth porn. He's a misogynist. It's not that Bond himself is a misogynist, although in many of the films he clearly is. It's that he's the central figure in a deeply misogynistic world. Women in James Bond films usually have one of 2 jobs: being rescued by James Bond and fucking James Bond, and often they do double duty. And if we broaden our consideration to consider the Judi Dench version of M, then we can add a 3rd job, which is bossing Bond around. Oh, and lest I forget, they also will occasionally betray and try to kill Bond. And all of this makes the Bond women throughout the franchise the most realistic and well-rounded portrayal of women in the history of modern cinema, because as we all know, women are basically helpless sex objects who like to boss us around and will kill us in our sleep if we give them half a chance. Am I right, fellas? He's trapped in the stupid cycle. Despite the somewhat harsh things I've had to say about the old boy in this video, I enjoy a good Bond film as much as the next guy. I mean, sure, Bond may be a power fantasy for aspiring spree killers who can't get their dicks hard, but that doesn't mean that he can't be entertaining if entrusted to the right hands. What I mean by that he's stuck in the stupid cycle is that no matter how promising things seem when the franchise reboots itself and puts a new actor in the role of Bond, things always degenerate into schlock within a couple of films. Take Sean Connery, for example. His Bond is considered the coolest. His movies are generally considered some of the best of the entire series. But by his 5th film, even Connery's Bond was teaming up with ninjas to fight spacecraft hijacking supervillains. 30 years later, the same thing happened again. In his final film as Bond, Pierce Brosnan was driving around in an invisible car. Now, I know that the Bond franchise has never been noted for its realism, but that was so stupid that poor Daniel Craig had to get whacked in the nuts a bunch of times with a knotted up rope in the next film just to make up for it. But I don't worry for Daniel, because rest assured, in another 2, 3 films tops, his Bond will be on Mars, driving around, I don't know, an invisible Mars buggy, fighting vampire women for control of a giant space laser, tossing out torturously corny quips as he goes. Cycle of stupid, circle of life. The hardest part is only picking 5. Catch you next time.